Today, I ranked every single new card from the World Ender expansion in a tier list. This expansion looks like an absolute blast, and I'm going to be streaming it every single day of expansion week over on Twitch. So, if you want to join me while I mess around with all the new cards and build a bunch of new decks, make sure to click the button in the top right corner of your screen and leave me a follow. Puzzling Signposts. 4 mana, fast speed spell. Bandle City needs more fast speed spells, by the way. I'm all here for this. They have a lot of burst, focus, and slow. They're missing fast speed spells, dude. They need fast speed spells. That's like the best type of spell, in my opinion. Fast speed spells are all the cool ones. You got Deny, you got Vengeance, you got Judgment, Single Combat. Like, where are the combat tricks, man? Return a fast or slow spell to hand or destroy a unit's equipment. Draw 1. Dude, okay, this is sweet. I love this. Bandle Deny. So the weird thing here is I think this is terrible as Deny. It's like basically a recall Deny. It's like throw it back in hand, but they'll play it next turn. So I don't know. If you're gonna win the game and the opponent plays Deny, you can effectively deny their Deny on like your Ruination or your Harrowing or whatever by playing this, right? Because you just throw their Deny back into their hand and then your spell goes through. The problem with that is, like, if you play a Ruination, you have to play it on turn 10 and have all your spell mana ready to play this, because it's 4 mana. You actually can't ever play Harrowing and Puzzling Signpost together unless you have some sort of, like, back alley bar spell discount weirdness going on, which then you wouldn't even be Bandle City. You'd be probably PNZ SI. But yeah, this is almost like an anti-deny. The fact that it draws 1 makes it playable in almost every deck. You can fizzle their Deny if you bounce your own spell. Yeah, that's true. There's a couple ways you could do it. I guess it really depends. Because, like, if you throw their Deny back to their hand, then your spell goes through this round, which is really good. So if you're, like, winning this turn, then you would just give them back their Deny. But if you're, like, gonna keep playing the game for a few more turns for sure, probably would be better to just, like, take your spell back, let their Deny completely disappear, and then replay your spell next turn. There's a little bit of nuance to it, which I think is cool. This is a whole nother dimension to just like denies and notifies and combat tricks, and I like it. I think this is really cool. As far as a tier list ranking goes for this one, I want to put it at S tier so bad, but I'm feeling an A. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This one feels deceivingly good, and once it comes out, you're probably gonna realize like this is a Deny that you only really want to play on Deny. If you play it on the opponent's card and it's a good card, it's just going to go back to their hand and they're going to play it again. And it's like, well, you wasted 4 mana. It's very good. You are crazy if you put this in anything lower than an A tier, because at the very least it's drawing 1. 1 mana, 0/0. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Strike, refill 1 spell mana. Also, it has impact. I don't know that you really want an equipment in Bandle City to refill spell mana. Because, like, all of the cards in Bandle City are pretty much designed around playing units. Am I crazy here? Like, this seems pretty misplaced. This would have been good in Ionia. This is not... I mean, besides the impact, this does not seem like it's really that worth it in Bandle. It's not bad. It is only 1 mana. This is definitely better than Origami Slicer. Don't get me wrong. Mr. Ball, take it away. And you know what? He's probably called Ball because he is basically a giant eyeball. It makes sense. I see the lore here. His name is Ball. He's an eyeball. It's all coming together. It's genius character design. Well done, Riot. They've gone above and beyond this expansion. He's an 8 mana 7/9. When you spend spell mana, grant me impact for every spell mana you spend. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. The only problem is it doesn't work on regular mana. You could play cards like Flash of Brilliance. Other than that, you're usually only going to get 3 per round. So, I don't know. This seems... I don't know about you guys, but this seems pretty trash to me. I don't think this guy is worth playing at all. You'd rather play Furious Faithful if you're going to go for impact. He just seems kind of bad. You know, I'd be trolling if I said this wasn't S tier. Just for Mr. Ball. However, I can't put this in S tier. I gotta give it its own tier, man. Above S tier, Ball, LOL XD tier. Easy Ball, LOL XD tier. Curious Changelings. I really, it bothers me that it's licking its own eye. The fact that its tongue is just like so casually just like hanging out up there, I don't like that. It's a 3-mana 2/4 in Bandle City. When an allied follower transforms into another unit, transform me into an exact copy of it. All right, I feel like this card is a solid A as well. I don't think it's S tier by any means. It's pretty specific, and like a lot of the time it is just going to be a meme. But I actually think this is like a very strong unit for timelines. You got to keep in mind. Wait, no, I'm an idiot, dude. I'm an idiot. I don't understand how this card, I just figured out how this card works. I thought every time for the rest of the game, you transform a unit, it's going to keep transforming. But that's not the way it works. It's going to transform once, because then it's not going to be a changeling anymore. It's going to be whatever you just transformed into. I thought this was just like transform, 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 transform every single turn, all game. Yeah, this is not no, this is not an A tier. This is actually so much worse than I thought it was. It's a one-time transform. This is a C tier. This is a C tier for sure. Maybe even D tier. Okay, we get another Poro card, but it's Bandle City. Poro Stories, 2-mana burst speed, create 3 random 1-cost Poros in hand. That is really good for Nora. I think Nora Poros could actually be a really good deck. Bandle Tree support, for sure. Literally a Poro in every region, so yeah, this is great for Nora, great for Bandle Tree, great for Poros. This one, I'm feeling, is probably a B tier. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not like the most main deckable card in the game by any means, but it's very good at what it does, I think. This is also really good if you need discard fodder. Rumble is so annoying to try and figure out like what the heck you're going to discard. You literally just play this 2 mana, boom, you have your 3 cards. Don't have to discard any cards you care about. This is your discard fodder. This is Rumble's card, dude. This is Rumble's freaking card. I can't believe I didn't realize that on the first read. Dude, okay, just for that, this is A tier. Easy A tier. Only because of the Rumble interaction. That is it. I'm tempted to go S tier. I'm not gonna go overboard here. It's not S tier, but it's pretty freaking good. Especially with Rumble. Alright, moving on to Bilgewater, which we only get 2 cards from this expansion, unfortunately. We have a 2-mana equipment. This is a non-darken equipment. It's 0/0. It's called Eye of God, so it's the Eye of Nagakapuros. Attack, spawn 2, and it's 2 mana. Yeah, no, I'm not feeling this one. I don't know. This is not going to be enough to make Alawi good again. Oh, it's got to be F tier. There's no shot this is any higher than F tier. I don't see this being playable in any deck other than an Alawi deck. And even in an Alawi deck, this is easily the worst card in the entire deck, no matter what your deck list looks like. If it gave any stats, if it was just +1 attack, this would probably be C tier. A 0/0 equipment that spawns a little tiny tentacle. There's no shot this is actually a good card. There's no way. There's just no way, all right? There's no way. I'm going to fix this card. You ready for the fix? It's very simple. It's extremely simple. It can still be a 0/0. It can still be 2 mana. I believe this would be balanced still. Attack, spawn 2. When you spawn, how would you phrase this? Basically, grant me the new tentacle stats. Not grant me the entire stats of the tentacle, but just if you spawn 2, also grant me 2/2. At that point, maybe it would need to be a 3-mana card, but then it would actually be playable. It would be playable. That's all this card needs, and it would be cool. That'd be a sweet ability. Wily Newtfish. Elusive 1/3 for 3 mana. Nexus Strike, draw 1, and give it fleeting. Okay. Yeah, no. I don't think so. I'm sorry. I don't think this card is playable at all. This is the same exact ability as the Darken Harpoon, but it's just worse. I guess you could play the Darken Harpoon on this. It's a 2/3 fearsome elusive, draw 2, and give them fleeting. Do you really want to draw 2? I don't know. Drawing 2 fleeting per turn seems kind of bad. Listen, dude, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but this is if I could go lower than F tier, I would go lower than F tier on this card. This is absolute F tier. It's just, it's so bad. Like, elusive decks want to do damage, and they want cheap units. This doesn't do damage, it isn't cheap, and the cards it draws you, which is its only ability, are fleeting. It's just, like, bad at everything it does. It's bad in every way. 6 mana, Roar of Acacia. This is Jax's Lamp. I don't know why he's Runeterran, if we're getting all these Demacian spells that are related to Jax. Summon 2 Acacian Mirages, equipped with up to 2 equipment in hand that cost 2 or less. That seems pretty good. I would say this is all right. This is not bad. The problem with this is that it's 6 mana. I think that's what's holding it back. The fact that it's 6 mana slow, it's not that impressive to me. The fact that Vayne exists in Demacia and can freely equip just with the tumbles kind of makes this like a worse way to free equip. I don't know. Lux synergy, yeah, it's all right for Lux, for sure. I mean, if you play this, get 2 free units, equip for free to both of them, and remove an enemy unit with Lux. That's not a bad turn. It's definitely not terrible. It's just like, it's all right. I'm gonna throw this one in there at a C tier. I don't think it's bad by any means. It's just kind of boring, which is what Demacia always is. And for Demacia, this is a step beyond what we'd expect Demacia to do. It's not overpriced. It's not underpriced. Seems fair. For 6 mana, I would say it's C. All right, Champions Strength. 8 mana Demacia card. We have Lux, Galio, as well as it looks like Jarvan and Garen. All of the Demacia champions. Let's go. But I feel like I'm forgetting some. Oh. Rest in peace, Lucian. Give allies +4/+4 this round. This is an 8 mana slow spell. If you have the attack token, give them Scout this round. Otherwise, Rally. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's crazy. It is only this round. Even the Scout is only temporary, but that's still really strong. Wow. So this is just like a mega rally, basically. It's like they took 2 rallies, smashed them into one. I think this is really good for Lux decks, for sure. I think this is really good for... I actually think this is really good with Seraphine and Acorn. Maybe not even Seraphine, maybe just Acorn. Or Master Yi. Any way to like discount the cost of the spell, probably going to be nuts. It's going to be interesting to be able to get this from Reggie. Reggie can give you a rally now if you're in Demacia. Yeah, this is good. This is a good card. For Demacia, I think this is definitely a card they needed. Because you can play this on attack or defense. I feel like this is B tier. It took me a while to come around to this card after first reading it. But I've been thinking about it. This is basically just a better for Demacia. If you have mana to play for Demacia, you probably have mana to play this. It's 2 more mana. And the amount of value it gives for that extra 2 mana is kind of crazy. You're not going to see this played that much, but for what it does, it's not bad. It's not bad. What is this abomination? I can't tell if he's an abomination or a good boy. Probably both. 1/1, Trusty Ramhound. The first time you summon another elite, grant me +2/+2. Okay, so it's like the standard conditional 3/3, which has sort of become like a trend for the last few expansions. I could see this being good. This is definitely better than like any other 1-drop in Demacia, in my opinion. It's not going to be like a 2/2 or 3/3 on turn 1, but I think it's still pretty good. Definitely don't see this in A tier. I'm gonna say a C tier for this one. It's okay. I feel like it's right there at the same power level of Roar of Acacia, the 6 mana like equipment units card. It's not bad per se. It's just like, I don't know, nothing crazy. All right. Petricite Charger. We got a mini Galio. 3 mana 0/4, which is basically a 4/4. Already great stats. I don't take damage from enemy spells or skills. Here we freaking go. Okay, there's certain equipments that you really want to put on units that just like can't get hit with a Mystic Shot. This guy is the perfect Catalyst unit. The only problem is he's in Demacia. This is like the dream Catalyst unit, dude. Your Catalyst would never get removed, but you're basically just forced to only use P and Z cards. It's 6 mana total to play this guy and then Catalyst, but if you just had like Mystic Shots, Get Exciteds, Ballistic Bot, I could see that actually being a viable deck. It would be probably degenerate and would start to get really annoying really fast after facing it on ladder over and over and over again, but At the same time, you can just counter it with Quietus. This card, for me, is S tier. That might seem weird, but trust me, you're going to come around to this card. By the end of the expansion, you will realize just how good of an ability this is for a cheap card to not take damage from enemy spells or skills. Maybe I'm biased because I have specifically wanted a card with this exact ability that is cheap for a long time. This is a specific card I have wanted for so long, and now I finally have it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe the hype will die down and I'll realize like, maybe it's not actually S tier, but I think this is an insane ability. For a 4/4 at 3 mana, it's overstated. The only problem with it is it's in Demacia. That's it. And like, because of that, I kind of want to put it in A tier, but I don't know, dude. This is a card I've been dreaming of for so long. This card specifically. And maybe it's just me. I'm feeling S tier on this one. I'm feeling S tier. The Darkened Spear. 2 mana. Freljord. +2 health. Makes sense. Goes with the Freljord thematic. Lots of health. Regen. Fits the theme. Don't know why a spear would give you extra health, though. That's the only thing that confuses me about this card. But attack. Grant the top 2 allies in your deck +1/+1. That is fun. That is fun, dude. This is the only Darken equipment I've actually looked at and said, that is fun. All the other equipments are fine, but this seems like just a fun time. I love the whole archetype of just like buffing your deck to Kingdom Come. If you put it on any unit like Braum or an elusive or something that's going to attack a lot and not die, I could see this being really, really strong. I like this a lot. This is top 2 allies. This is not like random 2 allies. This is your top 2 allies +1/+1. This is literally free Omen Hawk every attack. 8 mana, Anaka. Attack from the top 6 cards of your deck. Summon an attacking follower or non-champion Darken and grant it +1/+1. Yeah, this is cool. 6/8, decent stats, really cool ability. The spear itself, very strong. I want to put this in A tier, but I feel like realistically, it's B tier. It's going to be good. It's definitely going to be good. The fact that it's top 2 allies in your deck is really strong. You know what? I will put this in A tier. Specifically because Freljord can easily ramp to play the Darken that is in the Darkened Spear, which is not something you can say about any other Darken. This is in the ramp region. If you ever had a Darken you could play, this is the one. This is the quickest one. And the Darken itself, good ability. Very good ability. I don't think it's an S tier, but it's definitely an A tier. All right. We finally have a new Poro. It's been a while since we've gotten some Poro cards. 1 mana, 1/1. Empowered 3. Overwhelm, Regen, and Tough. That's big. That is strong. It's not even like random. It's just like guaranteed. Here's 3 keywords, and they're all good. I don't know why it's pouty. I have no clue what that has to do with Overwhelm, Regen, and Tough, but this is insane. Why is it pouty? Like, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't want to eat Pepto-Bismol, therefore, it's the strongest Poro of them all. I have no clue what's going on here, but I'm here for it, dude. Strong Poros. Let's go. Honestly, S tier. S tier card. Best Poro in the game. 3 keywords on 1 unit is insane. Not going to be that hard to activate. It's going to scale up really quickly with Poro snacks. Definitely S tier. Woolly Snail Moth. This looks like neither a snail nor a moth. It's a 6 mana, 6/6. Overwhelm. Empowered 8. Regeneration. It's pretty good. It's not bad. This, as a 6/6 Overwhelm, is already perfectly fine. I think this is what makes Empowered units so strong, is the fact that there's the possibility of having 2 keywords built into 1 card. Basically giving you more space to build your deck because you don't have to run an extra card to give this regen. It just has it built in. All you have to do is just buff it, which is like pretty easy to do with cards you probably already have in your deck. I feel like this one is probably a C tier. It's not a bad card, but Freljord's already got like such a good choice of big tanky units. Nothing crazy for Freljord. Freljord's used to this type of card, for sure. We got another Poro card, 2 mana burst, here to help. Give an ally +3 health this round. If it's damaged, give it +2/+3 instead. This is a Braum card. This is a Braum card if I ever saw one. I know it's got Poro art, but this is a Braum card, absolutely. I like this. I think this is good. This seems like if you're playing a Braum deck, I think you'd actually run this instead of Trollchant. Braum does not mind taking damage. He just needs more health. So this like perfectly sort of replaces Troll Chant in a way that's a little bit more beneficial for Braum specifically. It's also just good. It's like a pretty freaking good Twin Disciplines. Giving an ally +2 attack is not bad. It's just like an additional thing if you need it. If it like countered Quietus, it would be a lot better. If you have a damaged Braum and you play this, he still dies to Quietus, which sucks. So your Braum has to have +1 before you play this if you want this to save him from Quietus. I feel like this is probably A tier. The only problem with this card is I feel like it's got a pretty narrow selection of decks you're going to want to play it in, because it has to compete with Troll Chants. I'm actually going to knock it down to B tier. I would say B tier. It's really good in Braum decks. Other than that, Troll Chant is usually going to be better. I guess this is good if there's no unit attacking and you're just dealing with like, oh, they're playing Get Excited on my unit. Let me play this. This is +3. If you're just getting hit with like a removal spell, this actually is pretty good. It's not bad. All right, 5 mana Wild Mysticism. This looks like it's an Udyr type spell. Get an empty mana gem. Summon a Feral Mystic. Oh, that's terrible. Wait, that's garbage. Okay. The Feral Mystic is the 2/2. This is the Feral Mystic, which like, to be fair, feral, like no one plays this guy for a reason. He's just, you don't want to play a 2-drop and then it gets a buff when you're on turn 10. It's going to die before you get to turn 10. It doesn't make sense as a card. Catalyst has got to be better than this card, right? This is basically, instead of healing your Nexus 3, you get a chump blocker. And your chump blocker could be big if you make it a 10 mana. I hate this card, dude. I hope this card is not playable. This is D tier. This is definitely D tier. Easy D tier. The Darken Fan. How fitting that this only does +1 attack. I am offended that somehow this does more attack than this giant spear that is like 200 times the size of a regular person. I don't understand how this could possibly do more attack than that, but okay. The Darken Fan attacks, summon an attacking Dragonling. You may spend 9 mana to play me as Pra, and I swear I read this as the Beachwalker. First I saw Beachwalker, and I saw, wait, no, there's an R. And I was like, wait, is this Breadwalker? No. Breachwalker. I mean, summon an attacking Dragonling is pretty strong, actually. That's like really, really good. Huge Zed Hecarim buff? Yes, I agree. The only tough thing about this is you do have to put it on a non-ephemeral unit, and it has to be a unit you want to attack with multiple times. Like, you can't play it on units that buff your ephemerals, because then they'll just die mid-combat. You always want those to stay back row. I actually don't think this will fit in Zed Hecarim. All right, Pra, the Beachwalker. Play, and when I transform, summon 2 ephemeral copies of me. Grant 1 lifesteal, 1 challenger, and me. Wait, so this makes 3 copies. So it's a permanent 5/4 elusive. You get 1 ephemeral challenger and 1 ephemeral lifesteal. I feel like the fan is probably an A tier. Oops, no, not S tier. Not S tier. Not quite. I just feel like the Darken is not quite good enough to make it S tier. Like, it's 9 cost. It's 3 weakish units. As far as Darkens go, it's not really game ending. I think the real reason you want to play this is for the Dragonling. And for that, it's definitely an A tier. I just don't think the Darken is good enough to like bump it up to an S tier. Not quite. The Black Flame. Play, capture an ally. When you attack for the first time each round, summon an ephemeral copy of it attacking. No way. Oh man. Okay, so obviously this is really good with ephemeral decks. Zed Hecarim. So if you captured a Shark Chariot with the Black Flame, because you're summoning an ephemeral copy of the Shark Chariot, the next time you attack, you have an extra Shark Chariot. So because this is a copy, just like Harrowing summons a copy, you would basically get a free Shark Chariot for the rest of the game every time you attack, which is really strong. I think that's actually the best way to use this in Zed Hecarim. So far, I've seen 0 new landmark removal. I feel like if we don't have any landmark removal this expansion, any new landmark removal cards, we're in trouble. You don't want to spend an Aftershock. You don't want to play Tellstones into Crumble to kill a 2-mana landmark. Like, at the very least, I think this landmark still summons the ally when it's destroyed. This is just like 2 mana. Force the opponent to spend 4 mana to stop you from winning the game. Stasis Statue, for instance, for some reason, doesn't capture an ally. It obliterates the ally, and then it summons a copy. So because this is capture, you're not risking anything by playing this. There's 0 risk. It's just 2 mana. Hope you have landmark removal, bro. Otherwise, you lose. That's basically what it is. On one hand, so many meme decks. On the other hand, this is just going to be good in every deck. Ah, but I'm definitely popping this one down at S tier. The deck building possibilities are insane. Playing this in just like a good deck like Zed Hecarim, there's almost no way to go wrong with this card. Navori Longtail. This is a 3 mana 3/1. When I'm summoned, summon a Navori Brigand. Or give other allies +1/+1 this round. Okay. So you get to choose. This is like a Quietus type card. This seems like a terrible card, but I have a feeling it's going to be good in aggro, which kind of makes me mad. I think you would mainly play it for the buff, not the Brigand. The Brigand is just like garbage. As much as you might think this is an F tier card, this is actually much more of a C tier card, I would say. I don't like it. I'm not going to be playing much of it. But for an Ionia aggro deck, you probably don't realize just how good this is going to be. A 3/1 that gives other allies +1/+1. It's pretty strong. This whole Navori Brigand part is just bait. That's like to get people to stop reading it so they don't realize how strong the card actually is. It's not that bad. It's pretty good. All right, Twin Wind Technique. Pick a follower, summon an exact ephemeral copy of it. If it's an enemy, stun it. You literally just get a yoink the enemy's unit for a turn. This is equivalent to like Possession. It basically does the same thing, but it's in Ionia. It summons an ephemeral, and it's 4 mana, which is cheaper. It's a good thing this only works on followers. Yeah, this is nuts, actually. This is insane. A tier, for sure. Not quite S tier. It's very flexible. It's very good. You usually will want to play this to duplicate the opponent's follower, which won't always work, depending on the deck they're playing. If they're playing like Fiora, obviously, I still think it's really good. I think it's solid. Definitely A tier. All right, 4 mana, 3/5, Dragon, Seraphine? Seraphine turned into a dragon, y'all. Empowered 5. Overwhelm. That's pretty good. That's actually not bad because it has Fury. This will typically only need +1. It attacks, strikes a unit. It'll get +1 from Fury, and it'll have Overwhelm. Let's say you play Dragon Chow, which is from Demacia, right? You have 2 Dragon Chows. Boom, boom. It instantly has Empowered 5. This seems very strong, for sure. This is a big unit, big stats. This one I'm feeling is also an A tier, for sure. Because it's just a better version of the 4-cost dragon that's already in Targon. Not very hard to activate. Really good. It's a really good card. Kale. The vegetable. Kale. 6 mana. I can't say kale without just an image of the vegetable popping in my mind. I've never had this happen where like I say the name of a character and I just instantly get this just like the strongest mental image of a piece of food. I have +1/+0 for each time an ally attacked with increased power. When I'm summoned, grant other allies +1/+0. Empowered 6, quick attack. So she is really good with buffs, basically. Buffs, support. The tough thing about building a deck with Kale is you have to pre-buff. So you really don't want to play... I guess Bard is probably one of the best champions to pair her with. You want a champion that buffs your units in hand or on board. You don't want to like play her with Akshan. Kale Hallowed is probably the strongest way to do it because that's an easy way to stack like 5 Hallowed, attack with her as a 6/6. She has 11 power. Boom, she levels up. And when she levels up, she gets Overwhelm and permanent quick attack. Empowered 16, double attack. Okay, now we're talking. How does she get 16 though? That's insane. Is Riot out of their minds? Like, you win the game if you have 16. Why does it... Why would you need to go to 16 attack just to get... You're already winning at that point. That double attack is like an extra, you don't care about it, basically. It's like a dog treat. Like, oh, good job, you win the game. Here's a fun way to win. Besides just a regular hit, you get double attack. She's realistically probably C tier, probably on the same level as like Navori. If I put her lower than Navori Longtail, I'm probably trolling. She's all right. It's just the whole like, you have to get her to 11 attack to level her up. Then she has to go to 16 attack, right? To get double attack. It just seems a bit difficult for me to hit those conditions. And she's 6 mana. Like, you'd almost expect her to do a little bit more. She's not terrible. C tier. I guess let's move on to her champion spell. Divine Judgment, burst speed. Give an ally I can't take damage or die this round. Give all allies... Okay. Okay. That is strong. That is strong. That is a big, big, big spell. The fact that this is burst speed is crazy. Not a terrible champ spell. It just seems a little bit expensive. Like, this reminds me a lot of Lee Sin having Dragon's Rage, which was a good spell. It was like, yeah, it's pretty good. It does a cool thing, but it's just expensive. And like, for a champ spell, you don't really want an expensive spell like this, typically. I feel like this one is absolutely a B tier. I honestly don't even know if it deserves a B tier. No, it's not an S tier. Maybe, okay, you know what? I think Kayle's B tier. You guys have turned me around. Kayle is B tier, so is her champ spell. I'd say they're both B tier. Purifying Flames. Grant an ally in hand +3/+3 and another +2/2. I'm gonna assume this is both in hand. And that's pretty good. That's a lot of stats. If it was a unit on board, it would be even more powerful. I think with the way this is phrased, it seems like they're both in hand. This seems really good with Braum. Let's say you pass turn 1, pass turn 2. It's turn 3. You play this, you still have 2 spell mana left over. Your Braum is now a 3/9. Turn 4, you drop Braum. He's a 3/9. He doesn't die to Quietus, and you still have 2 spell mana left over. That is a good way to start the game. And you still have +2/+2, you get to grant something else. This is a good card. This is a really good card. I know this might seem slow, but the fact that it is burst speed, and it is 2 different buffs, and it's +5/+5 total permanent stats, this is pretty strong. Because it only grants in your hand, I don't know how high I can put this one. It's good. It is good. It is not S. It is definitely not S. I think it's A. It's not as good as you would think it is because you can't buff things that are on board. So you really have to play this like early game. And if you're playing against aggro, it's going to be hard to find the time to play this. For 4 mana, you're going to play this late game and like all your good units are probably going to be on board. It's definitely good. It's just not quite S tier. Winged Messenger. 3 mana, 2/4, empowered 3, elusive. That's pretty strong. The fact that it has 4 health is kind of crazy. Any elusive that has a lot of health is typically going to be low on attack, but this is a 3 attack elusive. Like, it's not bad for 3 mana. I say this is very playable. I'm feeling at least a B tier with this one, probably A tier. It's not S tier. It's not by far the best elusive in the game, but having 4 health is kind of crazy, and it's so easy to give this elusive. It's always going to be elusive. You're never going to struggle to give this elusive unless you're bad at building decks. A tier, for sure. Divine Clerk, empowered 3, lifesteal. It's a 1 mana 2/1. So if you buff this with a gem, it gets lifesteal. It's not bad. Not great. I feel like this is pretty weak. It would almost in every case just be worse than running Saga Seeker. But Saga Seeker is a 1/1 now, so I don't know. I'm feeling B tier on this guy. We'll have to see just how good he is, but he's Pokestickable. He's Vile Feastable. I just feel like you're not going to hit with him as often as you might think. If Targon had no heal cards, this guy would be S tier, for sure. But Targon's got plenty of healing, dude. There's a lot. There's a lot of healing. And I can't see this guy above B tier. Moving on. What is happening? Wait, what is happening here? Is this a bird? But it's like, its head is like it's got like hands and feet dangling down from its head. What kind of character design is this? This is hilarious, dude. And it's called Lawkeeper, as if anyone would take this thing seriously. Yeah, let's replace all police on Earth with whatever this is. Seems like a good idea. It's a 6 mana 2/7, which already is tough, because if you want to play this in the same deck as Kayle, you're probably not going to want to play this on turn 6. So this is going to come out like turn 7, turn 8, if this is part of Kayle's archetype. Play stun enemies with less power than me. All right, and it has a base power of 2. That's not that good. This is a cool ability, but to spend 6 mana on this and to also have to buff it, it's just a lot of work. Like, I don't even think this fits into a Bard deck. You want to play Bard with elusive, so like, why do you even need to stun the enemy board if your units are already elusive? That's D tier, dude. I'm tempted to go F tier on this one. What on turn 6 are you stunning that has less than 2 power? Exactly. If there are units that have 2 or less power, you don't care about them. It's just not something you're going to spend 6 mana to stun. Not even remove, just stun. It's just not good. Mihira. Aspect of Justice. I'm sorry. I cannot take that name seriously. This is some sick art. Biblically accurate angel type of art. But Mihira? There's just something about that name. Something about these names hit different today. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's a 1/1? 5 mana 1/1. Round end, grant allies in play and in hand +1/+1. Alright, yeah, so this is Bard. 100%. The Kayle was designed to be played with Bard. You cannot play a 5 mana 1/1 without it immediately getting removed. This is going to get Vile Feasted. It's going to get Pokey Sticked. This was not meant to be played as a 5 mana 1/1. This was meant to be played as a 5 mana 3/3. This is definitely a card you're supposed to play with Bard. If it gets empowered 5, it has Elusive, Lifesteal, and Overwhelm, which is kind of crazy. I don't know, man. That's a lot of keywords for one unit to have, and it's also granting all your allies in play in hand +1/+1. This is basically going to get Vengeanced every time it's played. If it's played in like an actual good deck, like a Bard deck, this is way too much of a threat to even survive. I think people are going to start saving their vengeances for this. This was not A tier. This was S tier. This one threw me for a loop at first, because it's a 5 mana 1/1. I didn't realize how you're supposed to be playing this. You play this with Bard, and it is unbelievably overpowered. Unbelievably overpowered. Here's Zelani, who's already in the game as a Darkin in Shurima, and now apparently she's also main deckable in Targon. As if this makes any sense. I mean, just why, dude? Why is she here? So she's a 7 mana 2/2 with Overwhelm. I have +2/+2 for each ally that died with its power increased. Okay. So she fits the Kayle archetype. You probably would want to play her in a Kayle deck as like a 2-of. Every time you have an ally that dies that has had a power buff, she gets +2/+2, which is a lot. Getting +2/+2 for every 1 death is crazy. This would be a lot different if it was +1/+1. +2/+2. She's gonna scale up pretty freaking fast. If she hits empowered 16, again, I don't know why there would ever be another unit that's empowered 16. Like, again, if you hit 16, you're winning the game. If it's a 16 attack Overwhelm, you're gonna win. Transforming into Zelani Aspect's Bane, which like doesn't even matter because you would have already won. Attack, transform attacking non-darkened followers into exact copies of me. Holy crap. Okay, that's insane. Why? What the heck, dude? You just attack with like 5 1/1s and they all turn into 16/16 overwhelms. And then you definitely win the game at that point, unless we have like fast speed ruination. No one's playing Senna, I guarantee that. Wow. I mean, it's 7 mana, which is kind of expensive, but you could easily get her to 16, I think. You just have to have 7 units die that have had their power buffed, which is not hard at all. You just play Spirits Unleashed, and then you play like a bunch of 1-cost Poros, and they all die, and then your Zelani is leveled. This is cool. This is an insane finisher. Super strong for 7 mana, in my opinion. I feel like this should be at least 8, probably 9. This seems comparable to like a Commander Ledros. Like, this has got to be the most powerful 7-drop in the entire game, by far. I still don't understand why there's another they already have a Zelani. I don't understand why they're making like 2 cards for 1 character. But I guess they've just set the standard that now there can be like 2 cards for the same character. This Zelani is insane. Easy S tier. 7 mana. It's going to be very easy to get this giant. And if it gets giant enough, you win the game. It's that simple. S tier. It's a no-brainer. Moving on to the final Targon card, which is Celestial Blessing. So this is 2 mana burst speed. Grant an ally in play and an ally in hand +1/+1. It's not bad as like a Song Spinner card or a random card off of Seraphine. Sure. Other than that, I don't know, dude. Is it really better than Pale Cascade? I would say no. This is this is Kayle Cascade. That's what this is. This is Kayle Cascade. D tier. That is a D tier. Easy D tier. There's just too many better cards in Targon, so I don't see this being good. The more I think about it, this card is F tier. F tier card. F tier card. And it's D tier. It's D tier. I can't do that. It's D tier. Up next, we have a 3-mana burst spell for Vlad, obviously. I don't know how I feel about spells that are just like a picture of the champion's face. This seems a little bit uncreative as far as card art goes. They really want you to know you're supposed to play this one with Vlad. Just in case it's not clear, you're supposed to play this one with Vlad. Deal 2 to an ally to give allies +2/+0 this round. 3-mana burst speed is not that bad. Like, burst speed is very important here. If you play this in the right deck, that's actually not that bad. Like, usually Scargrounds goes pretty wide. That's what this is going to come down to, basically, I think, is if you can play it in any decks that are able to go wide enough for it to actually buff, like, 5 units. Because if it doesn't buff 4 units, 5 units, something like that, it's probably just not even worth it. But this is a cool card. I like this idea. This is almost like a Vision, but just a better Vision, probably. Sounds weird to say, coming from Visionary decks, I know. I feel like this is probably a C tier. It's okay. It works with Scargrounds pretty well. You'd probably play it as like a 2-of in the Scargrounds deck, maybe. It could be good in aggro, I guess. You don't really want to deal 2 to an aggro unit, though, because your aggro units are probably going to die. None of them are going to have more than 2 health. It's just, there's not a lot of scenarios where this really works. And it's a 3-mana card, which is rough. It looks like we're getting some Vlad support cards right before he's about to be rotated out. They're going to give us like a couple new cards for Vlad and then yoink him out of the game. And then they'll bring him back later. This is a new 1-drop. It's a 2/2 with support. Deal 1 to my supported ally to grant me +1/+1. Okay, that's insane. Is that not? This is just like the new best 1-drop for Noxus. This will work so well with so many different types of decks. This is fantastic with Scargrounds. Obviously, anything that works with Scargrounds will work with this. I feel like this is also pretty good with Swain. It's going to continue getting bigger and bigger, right? It's going to be a 3/3 on first attack. Hold up. Okay, wait. What if you did like a turn 1 combo where you could support something on turn 1? Because that's going to be the hard part, right? What if there's a way, maybe it's like Crimson Pigeon, Porto Cannon on Flame Chompers. Support the Flame Chompers, deal 1 to them, and Crimson Pigeon is a 3/3 on turn 1. That's a lot of setup, but you actually could get this to be a 3/3 on turn 1, which is kind of crazy. There's a couple other ways to do it. You could do like Pesky Spectre, kill it with Ravenous Butcher, right? Which is the 3/2 pig guy. And then you could support that. That would be 6 damage on turn 1. But it's also 3 cards out of your hands, so that you're probably losing the rest of the game. But that's cool. This is cool. I like this a lot. This one is A tier, for sure. Crimson Pigeon is absolutely A tier in my mind. This is a very strong 1-drop. There's a reason it's epic, and it's actually not because it's trash, believe it or not. Encore. A 2-mana burst speed P&Z spell. Create a random new 2-cost spell in hand. Reduce its cost by 2 and grant it fleeting. Okay, so this is just Trail of Evidence, but it pulls from the Song Spinner pool, basically. This is a better Trail of Evidence. I think in Seraphine decks, it's going to be good. I don't really see it being that good in any other decks. Maybe this is okay in like a Fizz deck too. This could be a decent Fizz card if you want to play Fizz P&Z. I'm feeling D tier though. It's a Seraphine card. That's all it is. Maybe it's a C. I feel like it's a C tier. It's better than Trail of Evidence in Seraphine decks, for sure. I will give it C tier for that. It's an improvement on a past card. Oh, but it's 0 cost. I forgot about that. So you get a 0 cost. Yeah, it's really good in Seraphine. It's definitely good. You know what? I'll give it B tier. It's B tier. I've thought about it. Why did I put Divine Clerk B tier? He's C tier. He's definitely C tier. Okay, we're swapping. Encore B tier, Divine Clerk C tier. Causing some rifts. Let's cause some rifts. Yeah, what do we got here? 3 mana fast speed. Flow, I cost 1 less. Okay, so it's going to typically be 2 mana fast speed. Deal 1 to all enemies. Wow. Okay, 2 mana, deal 1 to all enemies. In P&Z. I actually think this is really strong. And here's why. Name 1 board wipe in P&Z that was playable before this. This is a main deckable board wipe in P&Z, which is something that P&Z has never had before. This is not a card that you're going to want to play in every single P&Z deck, but if you're playing a deck that is slower, like Seraphine, and you need to buy yourself some time to survive, you're never going to want to play like Time Winder or Static Shock, again. This is just better. This is just a better version of those cards, basically. I'm feeling A tier. I'm feeling A tier on that one. It's pretty boring. It's pretty basic, but I think it's a very good just like tool for PNZ to have. Acoustician. 3 mana, 2/3. Strike. Create a random new 2-cost spell in hand. This is trash. Am I wrong? This is like a worse version of River Shaper. It's got 1 more health, but I don't think that means it's going to survive any longer than River Shaper normally does. It's pretty bad. Why are you playing this guy instead of playing the spell we just looked at, Encore? You'd rather just play Encore or Song Spinner. He's just like, he's not good. He is just not it. F tier. 100% F tier. There's zero doubt in my mind. There's zero doubt in my mind. This is an F tier card. It's just not well thought through. Let's look at Cunning Kitten. What is this? Is this Professor Von Yip's sidekick? 2 mana, 2/3. Already good stats. It's decent stats. When I'm summoned, if I was created, draw 1 and grant me +2/+1. I mean, how would you want to play this card? I guess you could copy it with Iterative Improvement, but like there's so many better followers you could copy. This is, okay, this is really good with Callista. This is a draw engine for Callista. If you wanted to play PNZ Go Hard, you would absolutely add this to your deck. This just becomes a regular draw engine. You run Drum Solo, you run PNZ Draw, you have Go Hard. I could see this being pretty fun with Callista. Other than that, you could hit this again as like a 1 out of 200 off of Trail of Evidence. That's gotta, dude, I would hate to lose the game just because like turn 2, my opponent plays Trail of Evidence, gets this, and it's a 4/4, and it draws 1. That is disgusting to just like hit this randomly. High roll off a portal, that's very true. That is much more likely. That's gonna, man, that's gonna sting. That's gonna freaking sting. The worst part about this getting pulled off of a portal is it draws 1. So it could pull another portal. This is a 4/4 that draws another portal. That's not cool. You never want to main deck this unless you're doing the Callista combo like I talked about. Other than that, this is just like a really annoying high roll off of like Barkeep or Trail of Evidence or yeah, a portal, which probably will be the most common way to find it. I feel like this card is B tier. I feel like the fact that you can't main deck it sort of means like we shouldn't really be putting it higher in the list just because, oh, you could get it off of a portal. I feel like it's B tier. RYZE. One of the 3 new champions. His origin is the Rune Mage. He's a 4 mana 3/5. Already really good stats. Those are pretty good for a champion. Like if he's doing something else, 3/5 is really good stats. When I'm summoned or round start, create 2 Delve into the Pasts in your deck. So when he's summoned, and then every single round start, he's creating 2 of these burst spells in your deck. This is like anti-deep, dude. If you have this guy on your board and you're playing against deep and they toss your entire deck, you create 2 cards in your deck every single turn. Forget Go Hard. We finally have the anti-deep champion. This is it. It's him. How fitting is it that his name is RYZE, by the way? They try to drown you, but all you can do is RYZE. Choose one of 2 world runes you don't have in play or in hand and create it in hand. If you can't, draw 1. Okay, so if the whole if you can't thing is like, if you've already collected all of them, then you just draw 1. That's really good. That's good. That's a good extra clause. That makes this extremely playable. I guess it just comes down to what the heck these world runes are. So it looks like they're landmarks. I don't know why they're landmarks. I guess that makes more sense than making it like a unit. When I'm played or activated, deal 2 to the weakest enemy. Okay, that's pretty strong. That seems really strong. This one's called the Shard of Reverence. Again, if it's unique, activate all your other world runes, whatever that means. When I'm played or activated, refill 2 spell mana. That is insane. Seems like this one's just going to be a good tool to like help you get your runes out a little bit faster. We have another world rune. This one's ability is when I'm played or activated, heal allied rises and your Nexus 2. Okay. The fact that it has Heal Your Nexus 2, I think, is the only reason this card is playable. Otherwise, this would be like everybody's least favorite rune. This is not bad. When I'm played or activated, create a Rune Prison in hand. Or if you have one, reduce its cost by 1. So this is not a skill. This is a fast speed spell, stun an attacking enemy. Wow. 2 mana is not bad at all for a stun. This is like the baseline cost of a stun. When unplayed or activated, draw 1. Fair. Okay, I don't know why this one's called the Shard of Violence. They're like, oh man, we already made a shard. If the Shard of Betrayal is the one that deals damage, what are we gonna do with this one? Shard of Violence, Shard of Violence. Let's just make a draw. And then they moved on. That was it. That was how this card was made. So now that we have delved into the past, and we know what the spell does, and we know what all 5 of the runes are, he levels up when he sees 3 unique world runes. When he levels up, he still has the whole, like, create 2 delve into the past thing every round start. That's still going. When he attacks, he activates all of your world runes. If you have 5 unique world runes, destroy the enemy Nexus? And also he has Spell Shield, by the way. That's also a thing. So now he's, like, also very hard to get rid of. To be fair, it takes a lot of freaking setup to get all of these runes out. The only thing I'm concerned about is the fact that these runes are landmarks, right? Your only way of stopping him from destroying the enemy Nexus, your Nexus, is killing him. And he has Spell Shield. And he's only 4 mana. He seems pretty strong for 4 mana. To me, this seems like literally just a stronger Zillion. It's like the same playstyle where he creates cards in your deck, except they all just do a ton more. They're all landmarks. This guy would work really well with Talia, because you just have to summon 5 landmarks, and then she's leveled up. And these are cheap landmarks that also get you towards an even bigger game ender, where he literally just kills the enemy Nexus, no matter how much health they have. So he's basically an alt-win con. This guy's like a champion version of Bandle Tree, except you just gotta collect landmarks instead of collect different regions. Do keep in mind, they're going to have to spend 12 mana before they can level this guy up on only the landmarks, which is pretty slow. As cool as he is, I actually think he's probably going to be unplayable. I haven't even touched his origin yet. I'm going to assume he's going to have some sort of like really good selection of cards to play, because otherwise he is just terrible. You may put any non-targeted burst and focus spells into your deck during deck building. Wait, what cards are there that exist that fit that? What? So it's basically just going to be like draw spells. Okay, hold on. We need to know what his card loadout is. I'm gonna pull them all up here. All right. Predict. Yes. Warning shot. That's insane. You might not realize just how busted this is, but this is actually like kind of broken, because this allows you to essentially do like a 3-region combo with powder kegs. Dude, wait, they have the invoke spells, I think. Unless, no, I don't think they will have the star shaping, right? Because that targets your Nexus. Catalyst. He could run Catalyst. Dude. RYZE plus Karma could actually be a crazy combo, because you have to keep in mind, Karma can now generate all of these spells in hand round end. The only problem is a lot of them are pretty garbage. Like, on one hand, you could get Warning Shot. You could get Spell Thief. You could get Invoke. You could get Catalyst. You could get freaking Progress Day, Eclectic Collection, Song Spinner. But then you could also get Sap Magic. You could literally get the 1-mana toss spell that everyone loves so much. Portal Creature's favorite spell. So I don't know. I think this will be pretty cool to run with Karma for sure. I think one of the first decks I'll build will absolutely be RYZE Karma, just to like test drive how this feels. But this does seem like a pretty 50-50 selection of like really good cards and also really bad cards. RYZE has access to basically all the draw spells, all the Tellstones, and then a bunch of other miscellaneous really strong burst spells. At the start of the game, create 2 Delve into the Past in your deck for each RYZE that started the game in your deck. That's insane. So if you have 3 RYZEs, you're going to start with 6 Delve into the Pasts in your deck, right? And then you play him, and he gives you 2 more. And then every single round start, you get 2 more. That's insane. At a certain point, you're going to start to get annoyed, aren't you? With just how many Delve into the Past you're drawing. At the very least, it's going to be extremely easy and plausible to level him up without playing any Predict. I don't think Predict is really going to be necessary. You just need draw. That's it. You just need like a little bit of draw, regular draw. All right, I mean, yeah, he seems nuts. RYZE seems really good to me. The fact that he has Spell Shield is insane. He is the new Twisted Fate. He's literally the new Twisted Fate. And the fact that he also has built into him, literally just win the game. I feel like he's just Twisted Fate 2.0. I feel like he's really strong. And I like this type of champion. I like the toolbox champion. I'm definitely going to enjoy playing him for sure. Seems really cool to me. That is a really, really cool champion design. I'm going to definitely say A tier on RYZE. I'm not going to put him S tier. It's tough though, because his level 2 form with Spell Shield and the ability to just literally win the game. Kind of nuts. He's S tier. He's actually S tier. I'll put him in S tier for sure. He's super strong. There's so many good decks you can build with his origin as far as the cards he has access to. I mean, he's a toolbox. He's really good. One last card that comes with him, Realm Warp. Since he is Runeterra champion, this is his champion spell, but it is not main deckable. It is a burst spell. Seems like that's kind of his thing. He just loves burst spells. Draw 3. Discard any followers drawn. That's nuts. That's so good, dude. This is the new best card in the game. I'm not even joking. Forget champions. Forget Ruination. Forget Quietus. This is the best card in the entire game. Not only 3 mana draw 3, but 3 mana draw exactly what you want to draw. RYZE is going to have such a big problem with like way too many cards in hand. You probably don't want to draw followers if you're playing RYZE most of the time. RYZE Karma, RYZE Go Hard, RYZE Fizz. I actually feel like this spell specifically is what makes RYZE a really good champion to play with Fizz. There's going to be a new Go Fish, guaranteed. It's literally just this is the new Twisted Fate. Also, this is really cool with followers that have discard abilities, right? Things like Flame Chompers, the whole Scion set of cards. You've got one that like grants the strongest ally +2 attack when he's discarded. This is an extremely strong card. You think it's strong? It's stronger. It's probably stronger than even I think it is, to be honest. Might be the strongest card in the game, just period. S tier for sure. Absolute S tier. AATROX. A Darkened champion. He is Runeterra, and he has his own origin. His origin is the World Ender. If they gave RYZE the ability to destroy the enemy Nexus, I can only imagine what AATROX's ability is going to be. It better be bigger than that. It better be like uninstall the game at this point. I don't even know how they could go bigger than destroy the enemy Nexus. You may put any Darken into your deck during deck building. Non-champions. That just means no Varus and no Kayn, I'm pretty sure. Once you've played or summoned 3+ different other Darken, draw an AATROX. He's a 6 mana, 5/5. Decent stats, and for someone with a big, powerful ability, really good stats. Auto-equip the Darken Blade. When I'm summoned or strike, heal your Nexus 2 and create a World Ender in hand if you don't have one. And he levels up when you've played World Ender. Now, World Ender is a 13 mana spell. Reduce my cost by 1 for each time an equipped or Darken ally has struck this game. Assimilate allies equipped with Darken. Once you play the spell, all of your Darken equipments on the board immediately flip into their Darken units. And every single Darken unit has like a crazy powerful game-ending ability, basically. If you have multiple Darkens on the board, this is going to be basically you win the game. This is going to be a deny meta, dude. I guarantee you this is about to be the biggest deny meta you've ever seen. So probably take Ruination out of your deck if you're building any Shadow Isles decks over the next couple weeks. Just, it's not worth it, right? Trust me. Save yourself the pain. Now, this is 13 mana, but it reduces its cost for every single time an equipped or Darken ally has struck. So if you play this with like AATROX Jax, that'd be a terrible combo. But let's just say you throw in like a couple Weapon Masters into your AATROX deck, right? You could probably get this down to like 7 mana by turn 7. I think you could drop AATROX turn 6, get this in your hand, and I think you could very reliably have this at 7 mana on turn 7. So I don't know. This is an interesting like start to the whole AATROX strategy. But what happens when you level him up? He better do something nuts. So he does go huge. He's got like a Tryndamere type of thing. He goes from 5/5 to 9/9 Overwhelm. Darken allies cost 5 less. That's crazy. You really do have to build the deck around Darken. It's going to be like an auto-build deck. This will be basically a second mono Shurima. And then, okay, he does have this equipment, Darken Blade, +1/+1. So he is actually a 6 mana 6/6 with regen. This seems kind of insane. I'm not saying he's crazy good, but just mana-wise. Like a 6 mana, full stats, 6/6. That's a baseline stats for a 6 mana unit. And he has regen. And this is also a reusable equipment that you can play on any unit you want if AATROX dies. And he gives you his own set of special cards. And when he's summoned, and when he strikes, he heals your Nexus too. And when he levels up, he goes to Overwhelm. And he discounts all of your Darken allies by 5. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot for one unit. To do all of this and be 6/6 still is crazy. This actually feels like right out of the gate, it's just going to sort of be a mana advantage. AATROX is really strong. Obviously A tier or higher. I would say S. I think there's just so much going on with AATROX. I think he's got way too much value for a 6 mana card. I think he has to be nerfed. He's gonna get nerfed at least a little bit. If his champ spell is good, he's gonna be even more busted. This is only, again, this is not main deckable. It's only if you draw a second copy of AATROX. It's the only way you can ever play this. AATROX and an enemy strike each other. 3 mana fast. But then it also does create a Deathbringer Slash in hand. And it is not a fleeting Deathbringer Slash. It is a permanent one. 2 mana, Deathbringer Slash. AATROX, and wait, this is fleeting. No, this is fleeting. You have to play this on the same turn as Deathbringer Sweep. So you're spending 5 mana total. Deathbringer Slash. AATROX and an enemy strike each other. Okay. Sure. I feel like AATROX is probably going to be pretty low health by the time you play this first one. So, like, why does it even make another copy of literally the same spell? I don't know. Create a Deathbringer Descent in hand. Let me guess. AATROX and an enemy strike each other? Oh, wow. That's crazy. AATROX and an enemy strike each other. Yeah, this is trash. This is actually garbage. This is probably the worst champ spell that has ever been created. Why can't the last one actually be just like AATROX strikes? Because at this point, how is he going to be alive? I am genuinely confused that not one of these is just a one-way strike. Every single one is just single combat. Like, why? It's so bad. Absolutely F tier. F tier card. The fact that this is F tier and it's AATROX's champion spell and he's still S tier should really tell you a lot about just how good of a champion he is. World Ender, probably B tier. It seems a little bit expensive. I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's got a cool effect. I don't know. You would almost want it to do a little bit more for a spell called World Ender. Void Gate. We get a Kaisa landmark. Kind of. 2 mana, epic Shurima landmark. You know this is about to be absolute trash. When you summon an ally or an ally dies, grant each of its positive keywords to 3 allies in your deck. This is really interesting. I actually feel like this is good. This is not bad for a 2 mana landmark at all. The crazy thing about Void Gate is it happens on summon and when it dies. For that reason, I actually feel like this is very playable. I think this is going to be absolutely broken with elusive. Basically, every card in this game that doesn't have elusive would be way overpowered if it had elusive. That's just basically the way this game works. So if you just do like a deck that's 50-50 elusive units and scout units, like, doesn't that just break the game? Granted, you're stuck in Shurima here, but like, there's got to be a way to make an elusive scout 50-50 deck happen with it. You could do it in Bilgewater. All you need is this, some scouts from Bilgewater, some elusives from Bilgewater, and I feel like you just win. I don't see a better way to design this card to like prevent that from being possible, but come on, man. Like, that seems way too easy. Impact recycling? Yes. Now, impact recycling, very smart. This is the one keyword in the game that can stack right now. So no matter what it hits, you're still getting value. I could see Bandle City Impact Elusives being pretty good. Maybe even just Bandle City Impact and Shurima Overwhelm. There's a lot of different ways you could play this card. I thought this card was going to be like a meme card when I first read it. This just seems like a good card. Am I wrong? I feel like this card is going to break the game. There's so many different ways to break the game with this. I'm hyped and nervous at the same time. I know it's a stretch, but Void Gate plus the Arsenal, that would be a blast. Yeah, okay. Void Gate plus Victor. Imagine that. Void Gate plus Pantheon. Anything that's like a champion or a champion-like unit, like the Arsenal, that's just based around give me all the keywords, those would all be insane. I think Pantheon and the Arsenal are probably going to be stronger than Victor because they have keywords on Summon. Giving units Lurk would also be really strong. This is better. This is better at making your deck a Lurk deck than Ripper's Bay, which is kind of funny. I'm a big fan of this card. This card seems like it's going to breathe a lot of life back into deck building in general for Runeterra. I think there's going to be a lot of decks that come out of this. This seems like the type of thing that is going to be good for people who like to build meme decks and good for people who just like to build decks in general. I'm hyped. This is a great card. Fantastic card. Probably my favorite card design out of all the cards this expansion. Maybe besides RYZE. RYZE has some really cool design as well. I think this is going to be way stronger than people expect. S tier. Easy S tier. There's no doubt about it. We're getting blessed with some just off the charts power level landmarks this expansion. This is so strong. Acolyte's Reliquary. 1 mana landmark. When I'm summoned, create a Ruinous Acolyte in hand. When you destroy me, create an Acolyte's Reliquary in the top 5 cards of your deck. Okay, for those of you who have no clue what Ruinous Acolyte is, 2 mana, 2/1 fearsome. Destroy an allied landmark to grant allied Ruinous Acolytes everywhere. +1/+1. I will give it this. This is a good curve. Drop this on 1, drop Acolyte on 2. He's a 3/2 fearsome, and all copies of Acolyte everywhere have +1/+1. It's pretty good. It's actually not bad. I found it really funny when they released Ruinous Acolyte. It's like, okay, but like, what landmarks do you play him with? It felt like he was missing the landmark. And this seems like a pretty good landmark for him, to be fair. Is it enough to make him absolutely playable? I don't know. I could see this being alright. I could see this landmark sort of fixing Acolyte. I feel like this deserves B tier. It's not like crazy at all. It's a very specific card. You're not going to play it in like any decks except for a meme deck, but I'll put it in C. I can't kid myself. It's not on the same tier as World Ender. It's good though. All right, Shurima. 3 mana, 1/3, Rock Bear Shepherd. When you summon an ally, advance your highest countdown landmark 1 round. Wow. Also, when I'm summoned, summon a hibernating Rock Bear. Okay. That's incredibly powerful. That is so strong. Right away, I'm thinking Conservatory, right? Ravenbloom. That's a huge countdown. So it's like always going to be your highest countdown. It would sort of require a very different deck build, but being able to just count down 1 for free on Conservatory just for summoning units is insane. The fact that he's a... See, this is a good 3 mana 1/3. The fact that he's a 1/3 doesn't even matter because his ability is just so good. The Newt Lizard that we just looked at, draw 1 fleeting when he hits the Nexus. Like, come on, man. They're not even comparable. The power level on this card is so strong. This is really cool. I wonder if this counts itself. I'm going to assume no. I think its ability only activates after it's summoned, but this is even crazier, dude, if it counts its own summon. This is kind of funny with Callista, if it does work that way, because then you could just create, like, Callista attacks, she summons this, countdown 1. That only works if this counts its own summon towards the countdown. This also would be pretty bad with Callista because it would like clog your board with the Rock Bears, but maybe that would be good. This on its own, being summoned by Callista, could potentially count down your landmarks once per attack and summon a free 5/4. This is good. This is really good. This might actually make landmark decks, like landmark mid-range, playable as well. It was sort of missing this, I think. Just like a way to... You're sort of just going to snowball. Like once your landmarks start to pop and units start coming out of them, this is going to start to speed up the other landmarks, and then they'll pop, and then that'll speed up the other landmarks, and it'll all just sort of snowball, which is cool. I like it. Cool card design. He's S tier. He's definitely S tier. There's no doubt in my mind this guy's S tier. The only thing that I feel like is holding him back is the fact that he summons his own landmark. It's almost a bad thing. Like, sure, you're getting a 5/4, which is insane, but It sort of like restricts the type of decks you can play this guy in because you really need to make sure you have board space. Redeemed Prodigy. 2 mana, 2/2 from Shadow Isles. From the Hallowed package, but it does not have Hallowed itself. Just attack, summon, and attacking Ghastly Band. I feel like this card is more playable than you might think. It's not good, don't get me wrong. It's pretty bad, but in a Hallowed deck, this is usually going to be like an 8 attack that summons a free Ghastly Band on attack. Just on its own as like a 2/2, pretty bad. Like playing this on curve is probably just going to die. It's not going to be good. This is the kind of card you want to play late game in like a Grand Plaza Gwen deck. This will be like an 8 attack challenger that also summons a Ghastly Band. Then it would be pretty good. In any other scenario, it's pretty mediocre. I'm really not feeling this card. I'm tempted to put this guy in like F tier. I would say he's probably C tier. I think he's all right with Gwen. That's about it. 1 mana, fast speed spell. Why does this feel like this feels like a fan-made card? Every now and then there'll be an expansion and a card will come out and it just feels like it's like the whole, just everything about the card feels unofficial. Feels like Riot did not make this card. Something about like the art and like the fact that it's a 1 mana fast speed. It's just like a little weird. Like, what? 1 mana fast speed, Shape of Fear. Kill an ally to summon an Encroaching Mist. So Encroaching Mist is the Viego ephemeral. Going to grant all other Encroaching Mists +1/+1. Also will grant that to Viego. This card seems good if you got it off of like Coral Creatures, and that's about it. You don't want to main deck this most of the time. Even in Viego decks, I think this is a 2 of at most. This card, it's not going to see play, dude. There's no shot. This is going to be a very rare card. You're almost never going to see it. F tier, dude. It's easy F tier. Quite good in Viego. I don't want to put this higher than F tier, but like, yeah, you're kind of right. It's okay in Viego decks just because of the unit it summons happens to be the Viego unit. I would prefer Hate Spike, personally. It's just, we don't need this. In Shadow Isles especially, this card does nothing. You know what? I'll put it in D tier. I'll put it in D tier. I'll be generous. To be fair, all of these cards in F tier are much worse than Shape of Fear. Shape of Fear would be the best card in F tier if I kept it there. It's D tier, sure. Deathless Knight, 6 mana, 5/5 Fearsome. This is a new Hecarim card. Very cool. When I would gain Ephemeral, grant me +1/+1 instead. Wow. Okay. If you summon this from like Callista or Harrowing, this will just be a regular unit, which is pretty strong. It's a 6 mana unit, so that's fair, I think. But this is a very good value engine. If you're playing a lot of cards that like create ephemeral copies, things like Stalking Shadows, Fading Memories, I could see this being very, very good with Callista, for sure. I think this is going to be very playable. I like this card. The artwork is a bit of a bait because I don't think you're ever going to play him with Hecarim. I think he's definitely more of a Callista follower, but he's really cool. Oblivious Islander, not bad. Yeah, you could discount this guy to 5 cost. And he would... Dude! Oblivious Islander discounts him and grants him +1/+1. I forgot about that part. That's insane, dude. That is nuts. Turn 4, 7/7. Yeah, all you need is 2 Oblivious Islanders. So you play Stalking Shadows, you draw 2 Oblivious Islanders off of Stalking, you discount this guy twice, turn 4, 7/7. This one should be obvious. This one's an S tier. Absolute S tier. Definitely makes the top 3 best cards in the expansion as far as power goes. There's so many ways to just abuse this card's ability. It is a 6 mana unit. It cannot be the strongest card in the game. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is pretty good for a 6 drop. It's pretty strong. And that is all the cards for the new expansion. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way till the end. I know it was really long. It's an entire expansion, you know, what can you do? And again, I will be live streaming every single day of expansion week over on Twitch. So if you want to join me, make sure to click the button in the top right corner of your screen and leave me a follow. I have so many different deck ideas for the new landmarks and of course RYZE, and I can't wait to build them, but that is going to be all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.